ever wonder why a man's heart doesn't just race, but actually softens around an older woman? It's not just about how she looks. It's not the dress she wears or the heels she walks in. It's not even the way she does her hair. It's something deeper. It's the little things, those quiet, often unnoticed details she brings into a moment that quietly pull him in and keep him there without her ever having to chase. Today, we're going to explore this gently but honestly. We're talking about 20 subtle things that older women do, almost without thinking, that men deeply appreciate, even if they don't always know how to say it. These aren't random guesses or shallow theories. They come from observing real behavior, real emotional responses, and yes, some well-researched psychology too. Some of these things are so gentle, so natural, you might already be doing them without knowing just how magnetic they are. Here's the truth. Men don't always know how to explain what draws them in. They often can't put it into words. It's not the loud confidence or the perfect outfit or the witty joke. It's the comfort, the warmth, the calm, the way an older woman moves through the world with a kind of grounded grace that doesn't ask for approval. It just is. That kind of energy makes a man feel something he can't always explain. Safe, seen, pulled toward her again and again. And the beautiful twist in all this, it's usually the smallest things that have the biggest emotional impact. These quiet gestures, the way she speaks, listens, or just is, they leave a deeper imprint than she'll ever know. According to research published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships, men report higher emotional satisfaction in relationships where they feel emotionally understood. Not just heard, but felt. And that kind of understanding doesn't come from big declarations or dramatic effort. It comes from everyday moments. It comes from presence. And yet so many women don't even realize which of their behaviors trigger that feeling in a man. So they often end up changing the wrong things, their appearance, their energy, their voice, trying to become more exciting, more youthful, more perfect. But what men actually crave is something far more real, effortless authenticity, not perfection, presence. So let's talk about the 20 small things older women do that quietly draw men in. Even if he never says it out loud, these moments stick with him. These are the things that echo in his mind later that make him feel something lasting, not just desire, but connection. No. 1, they listen without cutting in. Older women often listen fully. They don't rush to respond or finish your sentence. They're not competing to be heard. They pause. They actually take in the meaning behind your words. And that makes a man feel respected. He feels like his thoughts matter. A study from UCLA in 2021 found that men listed being heard without judgment as one of the top emotional needs in love. And older women, perhaps through life experience, offer that kind of listening without even thinking twice. No. 2, their eye contact is calm and steady. It's not about seduction or tension. It's about presence. When an older woman looks at a man, not to test him, not to flirt, but simply to be with him in that moment, something powerful happens. It tells him, I see you, I'm here. And that quiet gaze can feel more intimate than a kiss. It's a look that says, I don't need anything from you in this second. I'm just with you. No. 3, they say thank you and mean it, not because they're trying to flatter or charm, but because they truly notice the effort. Whether it's for taking out the trash, fixing something small, or making coffee, older women tend to say thank you in a way that feels grounded. A study from the University of Georgia showed that gratitude is one of the strongest predictors of long-term happiness and loyalty in relationships, especially when it comes from someone who didn't need the help but appreciated it anyway. Men love that. It makes them feel useful in the best way. Not needed, but valued. No. 4, they laugh at themselves. Older women don't take themselves too seriously. They're not caught up in being perfect or polished all the time. When they spill something, forget a name, or make a silly mistake, they smile, they shrug, they laugh. That self-acceptance is incredibly attractive to men because it gives them permission to be human too. It creates a space where he can breathe, where neither of you has to perform. No. 5, They let silence exist without needing to fill it. This one's rare. Many people feel nervous in silence, but older women often don't. They've lived enough to know that quiet can be intimate. It can be comforting. So when a man is quiet, they don't panic or push, they sit with it. And that can be incredibly powerful. It tells him, you don't need to entertain me. You don't need to explain. You can just be. No. 6, they share stories without trying to impress. Older women often talk about their lives in a way that's reflective, not performative. They'll share a memory, a lesson, a moment of failure or joy. And the way they speak is rooted in truth, not ego. That vulnerability is compelling. It makes men lean in. It makes them feel like they're hearing something sacred. They touch with intention, a light touch on the arm when laughing, a hand on his back while walking, a soft squeeze when saying goodbye. These moments don't scream romance, but they carry warmth, presence, and care. Men remember those touches. They remember how they felt in those seconds, even if they don't have the words for it. No. 8, they ask thoughtful questions, not just how was your day, but what did that feel like for you? Or what's been on your mind lately? These aren't deep dives every time. They're just gentle invitations, but they tell a man, I'm actually interested in your inner world. And that's something rare. No, 9. They know when to give space. Older women often understand that connection doesn't mean constant contact. They don't smother, they don't chase, they trust. And that space they give, it draws him in closer because it tells him, you're free. I trust that if you want to come back, you will. And that trust creates a deeper kind of bond. No. 10. They smile in a way that softens the moment, not forced, not fake, just a quiet smile, often with the eyes more than the mouth. That smile can change the tone of a whole room. It can make a man feel safe, seen, and welcome in a way words never could. And that's just half the list. These small, soulful behaviors aren't strategies or tricks. They're natural extensions of a woman who knows herself, who's lived enough life to drop the mask, who understands that love isn't earned through perfection. It's created in presence, in grace, in those quiet moments when nothing needs to be proved. Men may not always say it, but these are the things that stay with them. Long after the night ends, long after the conversation fades, these are the things that make a man say to himself without even knowing why, there's something about her I can't forget. Often have this gentle, almost playful ability to laugh at themselves. When they spill something or mispronounce a word, they don't get embarrassed or tense up. They just chuckle, shrug, maybe throw in a little, well, that happened, and move on. That kind of self-acceptance sends a powerful message. You don't have to be perfect here either. You're safe being yourself. That easygoing energy, it's magnetic. It makes a man breathe a little deeper around her because he knows he's not being silently judged or measured. He can let his guard down. They speak with a calm, steady rhythm. You can feel the difference immediately. She doesn't rush. She isn't tripping over her words to be heard or to fill the silence. There's a kind of grace in the way she speaks, pausing when needed, letting her words land softly. That tone, that pace, that sense of being unhurried. It's captivating. It shows composure, maturity, and inner peace. And for a man who's used to noise, pressure, or fast-paced conversation, that kind of calm communication is like a breath of fresh air. It's deeply attractive, not just because it's rare, but because it invites peace into the space between two people. No. 11. They know when to quietly step away from drama. Older women have usually seen enough to know what's worth their time and what's not. When tension rises or gossip starts brewing, they don't get pulled in. They don't waste energy on battles that don't matter. A simple, I'm not getting into that, followed by a graceful pivot, that's powerful. It shows emotional boundaries, something many men crave more than they realize. There's something deeply reassuring about being with a woman who can stay centered, who doesn't fan the flames of chaos just to feel involved. They remember the details, the ones that seem small but aren't. Whether it's the name of his childhood dog, how he takes his coffee, or a passing mention of a dream he had at age 12, she remembers. She brings it up later without fanfare, without making it a big moment. But to him, it is a big moment because it shows she actually heard him, not just listened, heard. That feeling, the quiet realization that she was paying attention, builds trust faster than grand gestures ever could. According to a study in personality and individual differences, being remembered in small ways is one of the strongest indicators of emotional intimacy and long-term attraction. They touch him casually and gently. A brief hand on his shoulder when passing by, a soft tap on the arm during a laugh, or a reassuring brush of her hand. These aren't sexual touches, they're grounding ones, and they work on a level far deeper than we realize. Behavioral research shows that brief, intentional, non-verbal touch can increase oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It makes people feel safe, connected, and seen. Men may not consciously register every touch, but their nervous system does. It says, "You're okay here. You belong." No. 12. They don't reveal everything all at once. There's a subtle strength in the way older women protect their stories. They're not hiding anything, but they're also not offering every detail to just anyone. They take their time, they share as trust grows. That quiet restraint, that sense of mystery, it draws men in, not because it's a game, but because it reflects maturity. She's lived long enough to know that not every soul deserves access to her full truth. And that makes the parts she does share feel even more special. They support his goals without trying to take over. This one is rare, and men feel it instantly. Older women often know the difference between encouraging someone and trying to control them. They'll ask how things are going, they'll celebrate wins and offer insight when asked, but they don't push. They don't reshape him. They believe in him, but they also let him lead his own life. That kind of support feels rare, even sacred. It tells a man, "I see who you are, and I'm with you, not trying to fix you." That experience? Unforgettable. No. 13. They reply to texts with intention, not urgency. In a world of constant pings and instant replies, older women often take their time. They don't treat texting like a race. They reply when they're ready, when they're truly present, not just because the phone buzzed. And though some might misread that as disinterest, many men actually find it deeply attractive. It says, "I'm not glued to my phone, I have a life, and I'm choosing to share some of it with you." That kind of energy feels grounded. It gives the relationship space to breathe. They know how to sit in silence. Not all quiet moments need to be filled, and older women seem to understand that better than most. They're not uncomfortable with silence, they actually invite it sometimes. They can sit beside a man, sipping coffee, watching the world move without needing to narrate every second. And that kind of silence, it doesn't create distance, it builds connection. It tells him, "You don't have to perform for me. I enjoy just being near you." And in that silence, something sacred forms, a kind of peace that lingers long after the moment ends. They care for themselves in quiet ways. They're not broadcasting their self-care or turning it into content. They just do it. They get good sleep. They nourish their bodies. They move, walk, stretch, breathe. They light candles, drink tea, or take time to be alone, not because it looks good, but because it feels good. And that kind of self-respect radiates outward. It tells a man, "I know how to tend to myself. I don't need someone to complete me. I'm already whole." And being with someone like that, it's not just attractive, it's deeply grounding. And the beautiful thing is, none of this is about pretending, performing, or changing who you are. These aren't tricks. These aren't strategies. They're just truths. Natural behaviors that come from living, learning, loving, and letting go of what doesn't matter. Men might not say these things out loud. They might not have the language to explain what these gestures do to them, but they feel it in their chest, in their breath, in the way they relax when you're near. These little things, they're not so little after all. Women who quietly take care of their well-being without needing to announce it to the world carry an unspoken strength. When she chooses healthy meals, gets her sleep, moves her body, or sets aside time just for herself, it sends a powerful message. I value myself. And men notice that. They may not comment on it directly, but they feel it. That kind of self-respect makes them want to rise to that level, not to impress her, but to feel worthy of the space she's created around herself. No. 13. They compliment his character, not just his appearance. When a woman looks at a man and says, "You're really patient," or "I admire how calm you stayed in that situation," it hits differently than a compliment about his looks. Why? Because it goes deeper. It's not about what he wears or how he looks. It's about who he is. And the truth is, men don't often hear those kinds of compliments. So when an older woman says something like that, It lands, it stays with him, it becomes something he replays later, not for ego, but because it makes him feel genuinely seen. No. 14, they make him feel useful, but never used. It's such a small thing, asking him to open a tight jar, hang a picture, carry something heavy. But when it comes with genuine appreciation, not expectation, it becomes a moment of connection.